So this video kind of goes hand in hand with my last one on what are people saying about milk. And there was one particular comment that somebody had said about how strong bones is from calcium, not dairy. But that's kind of illogical because dairy contains calcium. So if he says that strong bones are from calcium, not dairy, that doesn't make any sense, because he's saying that strong bones are a result from calcium, and then goes on to say, but not dairy, that dairy has calcium, so therefore his first premise would be false. And we know that this is simply not true. Calcium is just one of the important nutrients that's required for strong bones. You have other important nutrients like silica, which is important for bones. Vitamin K is important for strong bones, fat-soluble vitamins. And in particular, vitamin D actually plays a very large role in strong bones, in that it is what allows the body to absorb calcium. You see, without enough vitamin D, one can't form enough of the hormone called calcitrol, known as the active vitamin D. This in turn leads to insufficient calcium absorption from the diet. In this situation, the body must take calcium from its stores in the skeleton, which weakens existing bone and prevents the formation of strong new bone. And obviously, if you're a vegan, you're going to be probably pretty low in vitamin D unless you are making sure that you're getting enough from the sun with, getting vitamin D blood tests done showing that you're, in the right range. And nevertheless, if you aren't, and you don't get a vitamin D blood test, you could be very deficient in vitamin D. So even though that you're getting all this calcium from leafy greens and vegetables, which do contain calcium, you may not be absorbing it. So it's not really a matter of dairy, bad place to get your calcium, but rather are you absorbing that calcium. And another important point to consider is that when they remove the fat from the dairy, you're going to have a harder time digesting and absorbing that calcium, simply because it's the fat actually in the milk, in the whole natural food, that allows your body to absorb the calcium in it. So you see that they sell low-fat milk and reduced-fat milk and all these different milks, but really, when you drink that, you're getting a low-quality milk, and you're making it a lot harder for your body to actually absorb the nutrients and the calcium in it. So one of the ways that I make sure that I absorb the calcium in my raw milk, which is much more easily absorbed because it's got the cream, everything rises to the top, and it hasn't been pasteurized, nothing's been destroyed. I make sure that I take a vitamin D3, 10,000 IU, along with my glass of raw milk. This will greatly help to utilize and absorb that calcium from the milk. And that is a really good strategy that I implement to make sure that I am absorbing my calcium. Now, from reading some different testimonials that people have written about with their personal experience consuming raw milk, it seems clear to me that one of the main consistent ones is that it's helped them to avoid cavities. One particular person has drank raw milk their whole lives, never got a cavity until the age of 65 or whatever, which I had read in my last video. So it's clear to me that if people are using raw milk and butter oil and cod liver oil to help lay down new dentin to keep their teeth stronger, it would be illogical to think that therefore milk, specifically raw milk, is going to aid in osteoporosis, because that wouldn't make any sense. If the raw milk and these certain foods are helping to keep the teeth strong and preventing cavities and healing the different cavities that they have, in no way would that correlate with increased risk of osteoporosis. On the contrary, their bones would actually become stronger, especially if they implemented weight-bearing exercises and made sure they were getting other nutrients to support strong bones. So there's a lot more to it than just, what people are saying. And on the surface, it might seem to make sense, but you got to dig a little bit deeper and understand that, when these big studies are done, they're more or less using poor quality pasteurized milk that's not raw. They may have vitamin D deficiencies. There may be actually a lot of factors contributing to why they have osteoporosis. It'd be like me going out there and doing a large study myself and being like, okay, so the people that consume the most apples have the highest rates of osteoporosis. So therefore, apples are the cause of the osteoporosis, which is ridiculous. There's so many factors involved. Hormonal imbalance, nutritional deficiencies. So to blame everything just on one particular thing, it's not very convincing. Now, like I've said before, maybe they did control all the different factors. Maybe they were really specific in their study. But one thing is for certain is that if it was actually pasteurized and homogenized dairy products, then of course we would expect to see high rates of osteoporosis in the countries that drink the most pasteurized dairy. But let's find a study, okay? Let's conduct a study. Have Colin T. Campbell, or whatever his name is, let's see them conduct a study, large-scale study of people drinking only raw milk from clean, healthy pastured cows. I would like to see that study. I would like to have a study like that conducted, then to rule out and see for sure, okay, and then, then make our concluding remarks and conclusions. And also make sure and find out that if everybody of those people were drinking the raw milk, did they have adequate levels of vitamin D? Were they getting sufficient amounts of silica and all the other nutrients that are good for your bones? Were they doing weight-bearing exercises? All of these things are important. So if we really want to have a reliable study, then we have to make sure that we look at all of the different factors involved and not just one particular thing, not just want to try to blame one particular food. And frankly, as a professing Christian, I trust my Creator. I believe that my Creator created me and He knows what's best for my body, and milk is one of those foods that is acceptable for us to consume. So with that, I look at the evidence. The evidence that I'm looking at seems to indicate that raw milk is far superior than pasteurized milk, and that many people have been benefited from that. So it's, however you want to look at this, you're going to have to come to your own conclusion and make your own decisions. But it's important, again, to understand that there's a lot more to this than just what people are saying. And frankly, a lot of people just want to stick to their dogmatic beliefs, even if it goes against the truth, even if it goes against what's reasonable, even if it goes against the evidence. And, that happens all of the time. People will just, cling and hold on to these particular beliefs, even if the evidence is to the contrary, even if it is illogical, even if it is unreasonable. People want to cling on to those things because they're scared of the truth, because they know that if they were to embrace the truth, they would be going against the status quo, and that is very dangerous. And also that's bad business for Big Pharma as well. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you got something out of it, and if you like it, please like, favorite, and subscribe.